outside. Number one, you see a squirrel burying sterno. Number two, your cat insists on sleeping in your bed. That's not anything. Under your covers, inside your pajamas. Number two, a snowman begs you to take him in at night. That's probably too cold, right? Only people like Ed and Bob have enough time to write their names in the snow. Think about that. And last but not least, the top 5 signs it's too cold. Richard Simmons is wearing shorts that come almost down to mid-thigh. So there we go. We've had some cute ones this morning. All right. So today, our message is the be, do, have principle explained. Be, do, have. And I'm beginning a series using the book by Neil Donald Walsh called What God Said. You'll remember he first wrote his book, Conversations with God, and he's since written quite a few more books about his internal conversations with God. He writes down what he hears, and in this book he asks questions, and what he hears as God answering, he writes it down. And so this week I want to start out by looking at the be, do, have paradigm for creating a beautiful life, right? He shares that life functions within a be, do, have paradigm. But most people have this backwards. We believe that life works in a progression of have, do, be, right? We believe that if we have a thing, more happiness, more time, more money, more love, then we can finally do the thing that we want to do, write the book, have the relationship, go on the vacation, buy the home. And then that allows us to be the thing, be happy or feel secure or peaceful or content. But the reverse is actually, the reverse of this process is actually what's spiritually true. We first begin by being the thing that we want to have. So we want to be happy. You begin by being happy. Then you start doing things from that place of happiness that create happiness for you, and soon you'll discover that you have the happiness in your life. So the formula is be, do, have, not have, do, be. Happiness is a state of mind, and like any state of mind, it reproduces itself in our outer life experience. So the thing that we want to embrace and become and be will begin to be reflected in the outer experience of our life. If you say, I want less conflict in my life, what you really want is more peace in your life. So you start by being peaceful, you do the things that create peace, and lo and behold, the conflict in your life diminishes. If you want to stop being so angry or frustrated all the time, you start by being peaceful, and then you do the things that create peace, and then you find your frustration levels are lowered. That's how it works. Be, do, have, right? One of my favorite ways to say that is what we think about, we bring about, right? What we think about, we bring about. But the one that he says in his book is what you deeply feel becomes real. What you deeply feel becomes real. So Jesus, in meeting with the centurion servant, said, go and it shall be done for you as you have believed. As you deeply feel and believe, it's done for you. And in that story, you'll remember that the centurion came to where Jesus was and said, come down. I came to you and I asked for healing of my servant. Jesus says, sure, I'll come down. He goes, no, you don't need to come. Just only say the word and my servant will be healed, right? And Jesus says, wow, never have I seen such faith demonstrated. And then the centurion said, you don't need to come down because I know I am a man of authority. And I can say to this soldier, go, and he goes. And I can say to this soldier, come, and he comes. So I get that. I get that you can have dominion and authority, Jesus. So you don't need to come down and heal my servant. Just speak the word, and my servant will be healed. And Jesus just goes, woo! Finally, somebody who kind of understands the be, do, have, that I am life, I am wholeness, I am health, and I can speak the word, and it radiates out to everything. And his servant was healed. So Jesus is stunned at the perceiving power of the centurion's mind, that he grasps the formula of be, do, have, the formula, the process. What I deeply feel, back up, what I deeply feel becomes real. Let's put our hands on our heart. Think about some condition in your life right now and think about the best possible outcome, the highest and best for your life. And let's affirm what I deeply feel becomes real. Together, what I deeply feel becomes real. Now you might ask yourself, how can you be something to start with if you don't have it already? But here's the thing. Here's like the major teaching of all of unity. You already have it in your consciousness. You can't say you don't have it, because once it drops into your awareness, you have it. You have it in the invisible. It's not yet maybe expressing in the visible reality of your life, but you have it. If you have that desire to have less conflict in your life and more peace, it's because peace is dropping in saying, hello, hello, I'm ready for you to have more peace in your life. And then our job is to get still and allow it to flow from the invisible into the visible reality of our life. It says, blah, blah, blah. You might ask how you can be something to start with if you don't already have it. You have it in your consciousness. You couldn't have an awareness of it if you didn't already have it. Now, the next slide says, what? Be, do, have. Look at what it is you want to have. Ask yourself what you think you'd be if you already had it, because you do. And then begin to become that. So that's be, do, have. Look at what you want to have. Ask yourself what you'd be if you had it. And then begin to become that. Begin to become that. Not I'll be happy when I have the boat. Not I'll be happy when I get to 5 weeks vacation every year. Not I'll be happy when I get the new job or when I get my health back. Not I'll be happy or secure when I have enough money. Not I'll be peaceful when I have no more conflict in my life. You start becoming the happiness now. You start by becoming the confidence now. You start by becoming the security now. And in this way, then you're working with the creative power of spirit rather than working against it. Well, I don't have it. Yes, you do. I don't have it. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Kind of thing. All right. So listen to, I love Father Donahue. And he says in Bless the Space Between Us, he has a chapter on becoming. He says, energy comes alive when becoming is embraced. I'm going to do this thing, right? And so your energy starts to come alive. Goethe says that once the commitment is made, destiny conspires with us to support and realize it. And the scientists say that the subatomic particles of life are activated. When you decide, I'm going to become more peaceful. I'm going to become happy. I'm going to become happy. I'm going to become peaceful. I'm going to become health, divine health. Subatomic particles of light are activated in you. Think about that. Your vibration is quickened. Father O'Donohue says, a new beginning is merely an invitation to open toward the gifts and growth that are already stored up within you. There is nothing to fear in the act of becoming. More often than not, it knows the journey ahead better than we ever could, and risk might be our greatest ally. You know, I think about the visualization where you start to become something new and it's like, you know. To live a truly creative life, we always need to cast a critical look at where we are presently, attempting always to discern where we have become stagnant and where a new beginning might be ripening. I love his words. So cast a critical eye for where you might have become stagnant and where a new beginning might just be ripening. You know. There can be no growth if we do not remain open and vulnerable to what is new and different. And then he has this great, next slide, he has this great saying, I have never seen anyone take a risk for growth that was not rewarded 1,000 times over. You know, because even if it works out great, and if it doesn't work out, you get all that feedback and all that wisdom for how to keep moving toward your dream. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? So where am I here? Mr. Walsh shares the fastest way for you to build an awareness that you already are something, and when I read this, I kind of went, is act as if. Act as if you already are the thing. Well, the law of attraction and The Secret made all of that, diminished all of that, I think. Made it, okay, just act as if you're rich and you will be. Just act as if you're healed and you will be. Just act as if you have $8 bajillion or win the lottery and you will. And they made it so, it was just diminished in my eyes. I mean, the truth is you do already have the happiness in you, the prosperity in you, the peace in you, the health in you, and every other aspect of the divine. All of these are alive within you, and you don't have to find them or seek them. You merely have to live them. Cultivate yourself to live them more fully than you already are, right? Act as if, now Mr. Walsh says, act as if is not about trying to trick yourself with fake it till you make it. And I was glad to hear that, right? Because that's how it got distorted in the law of attraction. Your actions must be sincere or the benefit will be lost. Why? Because the universe recognizes your original motivation. The universe recognizes your true intention. If your motivation is to get something, more health, more peace, rather than to be something, you're living as if you don't already have it, right? And the universe recognizes that you're not awakening to the fact that you already are that. Now you say, yes, but Reverend Cherie, I don't have it. Yes, you do. You have it in consciousness. It's Unity's pervasive teaching. You already are that thing. And when you practice becoming, you first grow an understanding of what's already in you. You're growing when you want to have more peace in your life, so you start by becoming more peaceful. Well, for some of us, that's not an instantaneous thing. So you begin cultivating a consciousness of peace. And when you act as if, it helps to have affirmations or phrases that you can connect with that will build your belief, not that will work against it or counteract it. Like, let's take prosperity, for instance. Oh, I'm rich now. That's a hard one to cultivate your belief into, but all things I need are provided for me in generous ways. I can work with that in terms of cultivating my believability, my belief in it. If you're working on healing, I accept that healing is possible for me. And then act as if, right? In spirit, I am already whole. And then act as if you are. In my heart, I desire to be whole. That's an affirmation that you can work with that's true for you. So you see there's no disconnect, no resistance in I'm healthy now. And, I'm healthy now. And what's happening in the outer isn't compatible with what's happening in the inner. But every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day in every way, I'm getting healthier and healthier. Those are things that your spirit can believe. And then once you open to spirit like that and it quickens, activates the subatomic particles, your belief will be cultivated and more spirit will show you the truth of your being, right? But another way to act as if that Mr. Walsh talks about that I want to share with us today is to act as if you already have something, and a way to do that is to help someone else get what you want. As you do, this puts you in a continual consciousness of the thing in a less emotional, more detached, relaxed state of consciousness. If you're affirming healing for your life and you drive somebody to a doctor's appointment, you're in the flow of healing life. Can you see that? Yeah. So this woman challenged Mr. Walsh, and she says, well, I want to have a house. I've been saving for years. There's no way I could give a house to someone else, and there's no way I could be a house, right? If you're supposed to be the thing that you want to have. She says, there's no way I could be a house. And so how do we become what we want to have? So he asked her to pay attention. Hold on a minute. He asked her to, did I miss the slide? What's the slide after this one? The universal language of spirit. Okay, hold that one. Thank you. He asked her to pay attention to how she could be the idea of the thing that she wanted. So she wants a house. So what's the idea behind that? A house is what? A sheltering presence. What does it mean to her? Warmth. It means security. He asked her to think of all the symbols that mean home to her. Charles Fillmore said, "The Spirit of Truth projects into the chamber of our imagination pictures that will be a sure guide." So she's getting a picture of, I want a home for me, a home for me. Everybody dreams, Mr. Fillmore says, but a great majority do not attempt to interpret the handwriting on the wall of their mind. Isn't that a beautiful phrase? What's the handwriting on the wall of your mind? I want a house. So let's scribble a few more thoughts about that. Warmth and shelter and security. And a great majority do not attempt to interpret the handwriting on the wall of their mind. Or they take their dreams literally, and because they do not come true, they consider them foolish, and imagination becomes a byword or a trivial thing. So that idea dropped in, but it's never produced anything for me, and I'm not really sure this creative power of imagination works. Yet we know through imagination we can produce wonderful changes in our bodies and in our lives. Mr. Fillmore goes on to say, and that's our slide here, spirit imparts its ideas through a universal language. Instead of words and phrases, ideas are formed in our minds and projected into our minds. This system of transferring intelligence is called symbolism. It's the only universal and correct means of communicating ideas. The symbol represents the idea rather than the thing. So she's having an idea of house, and the symbol for the house represents the idea rather than the thing. Now, sometimes the idea drops in and it's full and complete, and you just move forward with that. But if your prayers aren't being answered exactly right on and quickly, think about ways that that idea could be expanded or expressed in different ways in your life. Well, so Mr. Walsh asked this woman to pay attention to how she could be the idea of the home that she wanted. And so she saw an ad for Habitat for Humanity calling for volunteers and to rebuild a home for a family that had been burned out of their home. And she thought, okay, I can be a home builder, right? And that's the way I can stay in the flow of a consciousness of house. I can be serving and doing. And when we put physical activity into the thing that we're dreaming about, it again quickens and activates all those light particles within us. So she thought, I can be a home builder. I can act as if I'm a home builder because I'm building a home in consciousness. And this way I can give someone else what they want, and I can immerse myself in the thought of home every time I go out to volunteer. How many of you have ever worked with Habitat to build a home? Wow, just a couple. It's fun. It's really fun. If you can lift a bucket of paint, do a paintbrush or a roller or hammer something or serve the food to the workers, it's a great way to immerse yourself in a volunteer project. Well, the call for Habitat, 100 volunteers turned out, and the energy was great, and it was joyful. And at the end, they asked the volunteers to make a donation financially to help pay for the home for others. And she said, sure, she would, and she'd make a monthly donation. So she found a way to be a home builder and to be a source of home ownership for someone else, right? So then you know the rest of the story. You know how spiritual principle works. She had activated the spiritual law of the movement of owning a home for herself. And it wasn't too long before her uncle called. Not her rich uncle, just her uncle. And he was offered a big promotion across the country. And he asked her if she would house sit for him for a few months while he figured out what he was going to do, if the job was going to work out or if he was going to take it or what was going to happen. So she agreed, and a few months later he called her back and said, look, I'm going to stay, but I want to deal with all the stuff of hassle of selling my home, so I'll rent it to you with the option to buy. I'll carry all the financing myself. And she had her home. In ways she could never have anticipated, right? I mean, how do you figure that stuff out? You don't, because the infinite mind knows your needs. But she was in the flow of owning a house. And so his lesson here, Mr. Walsh's lesson here, was act as if. And it's not fake it till you make it, but it's step into the stream of what you want and step into the idea, the bigger picture of what you want: shelter, security, safety, whatever it was for her, the warmth, put your feet up by the fireplace in the winter kind of idea, and then move in that direction. It was in a way that she could never have anticipated. Did I miss this? So lastly, when we begin to live the essence of what we want to become, the peace, the love, the joy, even the thing itself. The thing itself is the symbol, and behind the symbol is the underlying perfection of spirit. And when you start to live from that, you begin to flow the energy, which activates a new vibration within you, and your mind comes to a new conclusion about you and about your life, right? And John O'Donohue has the final word on this. He says, sometimes the greatest challenge is to actually begin. There is something deep in us that conspires with what wants to remain within safe boundaries and stay the same. And I think this is important for our congregation, our community, because we're older adults. You know, we kind of have done it all. We're retired. We're in the next phase, the next decade of our life. And we think, you know, well, to start something new, what would that look like? What would that be? Deep within us, something in us that conspires with what wants to remain the same within boundaries and stay the same. Then he tells his story. He says, years ago, my neighbor set out to build his new home. He had just stripped the sod off the field to begin digging out the foundation when an old man from the village happened by. He blessed the work and said, you have the worst of it behind you now. And he said that my neighbor laughed and said, but I've only just begun. And the old man said, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. You have begun. You've begun to make a real beginning is the most difficult act. He said, a good beginning is half the work. There seems to be a wisdom to the truth of beginning when we consider all the hesitation and all the uncertainty that can claim our hearts for such a long time before the actual beginning happens, right? That, I don't know, I'm not so sure, what if, how about, how come? Sometimes a period of preparation is necessary, where the idea of becoming something new can gestate and refine itself. And yet, quite often, we unnecessarily postpone when we should simply take the risk and leap into becoming what it is we actually want to be. So it is. There we go. So let's take that idea into prayer now. And oh wait, did I have one more slide? I think I did have that last slide up there. That's not. No? Yes? No? Gone? Okay. I thought I had a last slide, but John O'Donohue said it all. Sometimes a period of preparation is necessary where the idea of becoming something new can gestate and refine itself. Yet quite often we unnecessarily postpone when we should simply take the risk and leap into becoming what it is we want to be. So as we come into prayer this morning, I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you and take a deep breath in and let it out. And relax into this moment and give thanks that we have this parentheses of pause in our week when we can be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. And if at no other time in the week you sit down and still yourself and breathe for a few moments, take advantage of that right now. Think about that idea, that divine idea that's stirring in you. Something that's seeking to express more fully through you. Perfectly ordered and ordained for you. It could be the divine idea of more life, more health, more love, more peace, more zeal and enthusiasm. And in this universe of infinite love, intelligence, peace, we trust. That whatever Spirit is presenting, we take this moment to open to Spirit within and trust in the power of the divine within us. There's no need to fear or hesitate. You've already been prepared for this moment. This divine idea is in your consciousness now. In the invisible realm, in what Jesus called the heavens. But he said, bring on earth as it is in heaven. Bring into my life as it is in my consciousness. And so take that idea for your wholeness, your truth, your highest and best life. And just let it spread out before you. You don't have to do any heavy lifting, any efforting right now. Just open your consciousness to the light of the divine. And let it pour in and through you. See yourself becoming fully expressing this idea. Perfect health, prosperity, harmony, love, and see the light of the Christ Spirit coming in through the top of your head. Let it flow like a gentle waterfall over your face, down over your neck, your chest, your abdomen, your lower body, your legs, your feet. Let it infuse you with its love. The Gospel of John says, from Spirit's fullness we have all received grace upon grace. So feel the thankfulness, the gratitude, the excitement, the anticipation of goodness, receiving the grace of Spirit. And in this moment, let your faith be strengthened. You're seeing into the invisible realm, the reality of your life as it's being born into the world. The highest and best good for you. All things are possible with God. Let's affirm it. All things are possible with God. This thing, the be, do, have process, is all about becoming it, doing it, living it, and then realizing it in your life. All things are possible with God. Again, all things are possible with God. And we know this same truth for others, all those for whom we love and are praying, for the names in our prayer box, the people who have called this ministry and asked for prayer. For each one of you here in the sanctuary this morning, all of the viewers who watch online, all of the ways our message reaches out and touches the minds and hearts of people who immediately recognize the truth of their being. God is all. God is all. God is all. And invite you to take just a moment and whisper silently inside yourself the names of those you would bless. This idea of becoming the truth of who they are, more and more, more and more. Silently whisper their names. And speak a word for your loved one. With God, all things are possible. Together. With God, all things are possible. We give thanks for this time together, for allowing the Spirit of God for us to be immersed in the Spirit of God and infused by that Spirit in more powerful and profound ways than ever before. And our hearts are filled with gratitude, and we say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Together we all say, amen.
Oh, this is a little high. Is this better? All right. I have 3 poems today, 2 with music. Are we ready? All right. People say I'm everything because I am attitude. I'll use all of your body to express myself in whatever manner I choose. I am the way you hold your head. I am seen in your eyes. I'll express myself through your voice, which I can easily disguise. I can